All right.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Lens podcast with Roger Rojas. And today's guest is the Senior Vice President of National Director of Strategic Sales for Citizens Bank. That was a tongue twister for me. Co-founder of Chase Restaurant Group that currently owns and operates 10 locations throughout New York City. He's a graduate from the University of Connecticut and a walk-on the men's basketball team from 2001 to 2002. And I'm excited to have Ace Watanasuparp on the show.
Oh, that was awesome, Roger. Thanks for having me, sir. That's a tongue twister right there. So,
Thank you for coming on, man. And especially during this wild time of the coronavirus and, just taking the time to do this. I'm sure that you have stuff going on and, helping me out here. And little did I know, we'll tell people now on the show, we had a basketball date to go to the Nets game. Who knew that was going to be the last game of the season, which is absolutely insane.
exactly, Roger. I know, right? I was looking forward to us going to the game together and this whole COVID-19. And now, we've become the epicenter of this coronavirus in New York City. So it's apocalyptic out here. There's like nobody on the streets. It's crazy. I live right across the street from the World Trade Center, and usually there's millions of people outside, right? And there's nobody here. So
wow, I'm sure. Yeah, it's changing and affecting everyone.
yeah.
I want to talk about how you, as a 9-to-5 national director, also is able to manage the hospitality scene in New York City. Before we get into how you got involved with that, what does your routine look like? Do you have a morning routine that you stick to at all? Is there something?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, early bird always gets the worm, right? So I'm a true proponent on waking up early. I'm still working on waking up earlier, but, I try to get up at least by 5:30 to 6 a.m. I have a morning routine where I hit the gym, get the blood flowing for about 30 minutes. I meditate a little bit, and then I just write down notes, notes that I want to get accomplished for the day, and then notes that I want to get accomplished for the week. And then I'll maybe read a couple of articles here and there,
What are your go-to magazine publications?
Oh man, Forbes, Business Insider, Bloomberg, CNN News. So, and BuzzFeed, I use BuzzFeed a lot in regards to just to get the latest information.
Is that like the more so for like trendy, relevant topics?
Yeah.
Is that
whatever
it?
relevant? Yeah. Whatever relevant topics there are, they usually have really good information. And then I'm off to my day. I'm not really a breakfast person, so I just get a lot of fruits and just kind of blend them all in and just get a juice, like a fruit juice on the run. And then I try to get into the office by 8:45, 9 a.m. and then I'm off. Usually that 3-hour time period from 6 to 9 is really like me time, right? It's your time, so it kind of gets your thoughts ready so that you're organized and you're clear. You have some clarity for the day. So
that's huge. Now you started. I want to talk about college and briefly of how you were able to. Before we started recording, I was like, "Oh, did you win a national championship?" Because those years were the big years, and you're like, "What did you tell me?"
Oh man, so we won the championship the year before I got on the team and the year right after, so but we did pretty good. My senior year we made it to the Elite Eight. We lost to Maryland, and Maryland won it that year. So I like to tell everyone, look, if we didn't lose to Maryland, we would have definitely won the championship. So I would have had a ring, but I do have a Big East championship ring. We won the Big East that year, so
that's so cool. That's pretty.
That's cool. That's a ring I bring around with me all the time. So
yeah, that's so awesome. Would you say being a past athlete, entering into the corporate world, there was many attributes that helped you? Having that team aspect. Being a national director, you're overseeing. I saw it. Maybe I lose track of time now, but a couple weeks ago, you led a massive meeting, and you had, was it Jay Shetty, I believe, that spoke to this group?
Yeah.
Being a leader on the court and being, I would say, when you turn to being someone who's seen upon to not make it, aka the walk-on, you then become a walk-on in a group of people who are pushing you to do more and be more. And then you leave that team environment, and then now you push it over to the corporate experience, which is there's levels to it, right? You continue to grow positions, and now being a director. what would you say was the one consistent thing from athletics to the corporate world in finance or anything really? I would say corporate
Yeah.
America that was consistent and say that really helped you, a dynamic or something. For me, I think of team. So is there something for you that helped you make that transition from an athlete to corporate America?
I think when you're an athlete, there's something called discipline, right? And being consistent. And I think if you combine consistency along with discipline, along with accountability, it's a recipe for a successful formula. So that's something that I've been able to transcend into the work environment.
Can
And
you
what I
give that
mean
one? I
by,
want you to say that one more time. That was really good. What is
yeah,
your formula?
so there's consistency, discipline, and then accountability, right? So consistency is making sure that you wake up every single day and you have a routine. Discipline is really telling yourself when you feel like giving up, you continue to push through. There's resilience, right? And then accountability is when nobody's watching you, you know, someone's watching you, right? So if you want to actually be successful, yeah, you can take a shortcut. Yeah, you can cheat that day, or you don't have to go to the gym, or you don't have to read up on the guidelines, but there's accountability, right? So every successful person, if you talk and you're doing all these podcasts with, I'm sure, with all these successful folks, there's a consistency there that they all sort of have this mindset that, it's not that you're the smartest person in the room, because I can tell you there's some amazing, amazing leaders out there that just really know how to put together the right team, right? But it's really about, are you disciplined enough to continue throughout that journey and not waver? Because so many people give up, right when they're like probably like a millimeter away from hitting that successful sort of opportunity,
Mhm.
but they just give up because they're not resilient enough, right? So, I'm going to repeat it again. Consistency, discipline, and then accountability would be my three main traits that I've been able to carry on from the court, from being a walk-on to, working at a bank, a financial institution, along with being an entrepreneur and starting something with my cousin about 10 years ago too.
Where did that come about? We all need food. I love
We
food.
all need food, right?
It's
Food
it's
is
the
a
one. It's the thing
necessity.
that you got into two things that we all need to operate: money and food.
Money, home, and food, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
exactly.
And so I want to talk. How did you get into the food business? Was this your cousin's idea that he approached you and he's like, "Hey, man, I want to do this," or help me out with the financial side of things, or was this something that you've always had a passion to do?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a quick story. I was working in corporate America, working for a bank, and I was under this mentorship program, and we had a really, really, he was called, he was with the company for about 25 years, right? So he was like the godfather of financing, of mortgages, and I was mentoring underneath him, and lo and behold, one day, it was around Thanksgiving. I still remember it vividly. My boss who hired me, who told me to sort of intern and sort of go on this mentorship with this gentleman. Thanksgiving comes, and and this person's won every single award that you can imagine at the company, 25 years, and they were letting him go right on Thanksgiving Day. And this is probably 5-6 years into my career in terms of mortgages in the financial industry. And I'm learning here, I'm young, and they told me that they were going to let him go. And not only were they going to let him go during Thanksgiving, they wanted me to replace him, right? And for
Mm,
most folks, that was like that aha moment where I should have been excited, but I wasn't actually. I
why?
thought to myself, well, two things, right? I saw this person who I was learning from every single day. I saw how much passion he had for the company. He's been with them 25 years, and he was on their pinnacle club, billion dollar club. You could see his trophies all around the room, and all of a sudden, the 25 years, it's erased. It's gone, and here I am, this young, young, motivated, who still needed to learn so much more. I was going to actually replace him. So I sort of fast forwarded my career, and I saw myself as this person giving 25 years of my sweat, my sweat, blood, and soul to a company. And, not to their fault, but probably through time
Would you say a hidden blessing?
Yeah, it's probably a hidden blessing, Roger. And, I saw that as a wake up call for me. And I told myself, hey, I need not a plan B, but I just need to control my destiny. And my cousin was always knocking on my door saying, hey, Ace, let's do something
We
together.
always have
Let's
that family member. Everyone
Always
has
that
that
family
one.
member, right?
Or that friend. You're like, dude, I
And,
have nothing to do with what you want to do.
and I've always been like, no, I'm good. I want to focus on my career here. And, that moment just really made me reflect. And, I took it pretty hard. I was really sad to see him go. Although I should have been excited because that was an opportunity for my career. It just made me realize that, I should pursue this. It's in front of me. My cousin's been really, pushing me to do something. So we did it, and, it was rough in the beginning. He was never an owner before. I was never an owner, although we came from a restaurant background. My dad and my mom had a restaurant when I was in high school, and I was a busser, server. I mean, you name it, we did it, Huh?
What was the name of that, and where was that?
Oh, it was called Bangkok Palace. It was in Brooklyn. I still remember. I was a delivery boy. Times were tough. The neighborhoods were rough. I went, delivered the food, came back with no money and stolen food. So I still remember, they actually just took the food from me. I had to run across the park and never made it. So not only did the customer complain about not receiving the food, I had no money. So my parents were yelling at me at the time, but it's a great lesson at the age of 15.
I would say,
But,
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, everyone goes through those life things. But I would say, touching on an
yeah,
opportunity coming, it's negative for the person, that one individual, right? But then there's an opportunity for someone else. I think right now with the current situation of COVID,
yes,
this is exactly what's happening. People are being woken up with knowing that they can't. And I think your cousin did this for you unintentionally, being like, you can't just be in one lane. That there
correct.
needs to be other lanes for you to operate in that you could have. And I think it's funny, right? It's like that back and forth. You're like, no, I wanted to focus and hone in on the greatest thing that I'm good at. This is where I make
Yeah,
money. This is my bread and butter. But it's also understanding that you have to have something else on the side, or something else that keeps you going to do more. And you did
correct.
that through, now you said 10 years, right? You've been
10
having,
years.
how have you been able to manage both? Like, I'm sure you get that all the time. Like, dude, you work a 9 to 5. You're not just some
Yeah.
low, guy on the bottom of the bottom. You can sneak in and sneak out. It's like, no, you have phone calls, emails, meetings, people wanting to see you and that need to meet with you. And then you also have bussers, waiters, managers that are calling you.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you
I mean,
how do you manage
yeah,
it? Like,
again,
what's the one thing that you do to keep it all in sync and for you not to explode? Because I know there's a lot of multitaskers listening to this, and we each have our own kind of thing. For me personally, I take it one step at a time. Like, oh, I'm doing this one thing, let me do this, even though I have the what I call mind dump of list of things to do, whatever it is. I take it one at a time. How do you manage between the 9 to 5 and then also the restaurant life?
definitely. I mean, Roger, I wish it was 9 to 5, right, at the bank. So, my times at the office are like 9 to 7 for most nights. But, I think it's all about really, there's no secret sauce, right? It's sacrifice, Roger, right? So, literally the minute I'm done at the bank, and this was towards the beginning of when we started really, this was in the beginning when we started growing the business. Right now, it's a little bit more structured. It's more set up. So I don't spend as much time on it. Although, I still spend daily, just catching up with the managers. But I would say sacrifice and really, focusing your efforts on building people. Right. It's tough. I mean, there's really no secret sauce to it. Like I was
Well, I think
putting
you
in,
did, in a way, you just did say something that people need to know, and I'm learning now myself,
yeah,
is that you
go ahead.
created protocol for
Correct.
the roles of a manager to then they adhere to you, and everything that's going on, right?
Correct. But you have to do it first yourself, right, Roger? So I can tell you, there were times where literally right after the bank, right at 7 o'clock, I would shoot right to the restaurant and
Hmm.
I would literally stay there till 2 a.m. Right? Every single day
What was your first
until,
restaurant?
so we first opened up Spot and Obao actually at the same time. So
Ooh,
what happened was back then, and I
what
still
year?
remember November 2009.
So this is
So he went,
recession.
this is during the recession. Now, remember what you just said, right? with every single downturn, there's always opportunity.
Always.
So during the recession, because I was in real estate, I was able to actually find really good spaces. And that's why like the restaurant business and what I do for my day job really works hand in hand, right? Because they always say, you know, for a successful restaurant, it's all about the location and the deal that you strike with the landlord.
I heard that
So,
in the documentary Founder of McDonald's,
yes,
when he looks at
yes.
him and he says, "What business are you in?" And he said, "The burger business." He's like, "No, you're not. You're in the
No,
real estate business."
you're in the real estate business. So that's really where, you know, my cousin was the operator. I was more of the business side of things. So in any case, so going back to 2009, they were giving away restaurants left and right because it was pretty much the Great Recession, right? So
Mhm.
we picked up two at the same time, not knowing how to even delegate to. So I went to Spock, he went to Obao, and we just made it work, you know, and we were there literally slaving right after the bank all the way till 2 a.m. I did it all over again, went to the bank by 8. So a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of financial struggle. You know, we learned a lot throughout the process in terms
How
of
old were
cash
you when this
flow.
was happening?
Ooh, I was what? How old was I? I was around 29, 28. You know, I was
So the
young. I
years that
was young.
most people, especially being in New York City, you just got this major role. Happy hour is the coolest thing to do,
Uh,
and you were saying no to those things.
I was not hanging
What
out with any
what
of my
was
friends.
what was your
Yeah.
bigger picture? Like, why? Like, what was the driving force on being able to say no? Aside from the ownership part, that's a given, right? So you own it and you wanna grow it. But what there has to, I'm missing something. I know there's something more that I don't know that made you say, "Hey, I just finished this job. Let me go to the restaurant, stay there till 3 a.m, sleep a couple hours, and go back to the office." What was
You know,
that
it's
thing
some,
for you?
you know, I got to tell you, it's something that not everyone has, right? And it's just something that's a fire in you that you're just not comfortable, you know. And I try to tell everyone to continue to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. And I think that's what really, um, you know, basketball and walking on at UConn really helped me realize that you can never be comfortable, right? Because if you're an athlete and you're a competitor, you always know that someone else is working 1,000. They're putting in the hours in the gym, 1,000 hours a day shooting that
Mhm,
shot, right? So for
mhm.
me, you know, I didn't really grow up with, you know, I grew up with humble beginnings, and I saw my parents have this roller coaster, right? And my parents used to always tell me, "Ace, success doesn't last forever. You know, it's a roller coaster in life." And you know, I just really wanted to do things that, you know, I could actually help control the destiny.
Mhm.
And I knew that I needed to put in the hours, and I knew I needed to sacrifice a lot of time. So I lived at home. You know,
So
I worked at
how old are you?
I lived at home until I was 32, Roger. So I lived
Okay.
at home for 10 years after college. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't know that.
Yeah.
They just see, you know, the result today, but you know, that was a lot of money saved, right? Now, you know, you know, I see a lot of my younger friends that graduate from college, they're already looking for apartments, right? And that's great. And you're going to have that sort of independence, but just know that that rent that you're paying, if you have the ability to save, you just try to look at different ways, right? So
What would you say for someone just coming out of college right now? What would you tell advice? I know it differs from subject to subject. I know that there's no one answer. But for someone who's just coming out of college and they just landed that job for their entry level job,
mhm.
what would you say is the best thing for them to do in regards of having a baseline of finance, of kind of, you said it in a little bit, is live below your means. You lived in your
Correct.
parents' home until you were
Yeah.
32. Is there anything else that you would want to share with people for them to be able to do?
Yeah, definitely. Learn from folks that are more senior than you. Have a mentor. You know, seek out that mentor. You know, whether
Did
it's
you have
within your
one
company.
when you were
I
growing up?
did, I did. I mean, you know, Coach Calhoun was a mentor. Dottie, Herman, and
That's a great
Howard
mentor.
Lorber. Yeah, and Dottie and Howard Lorber at Douglas Elliman was a mentor.
Wow.
Today at Citizens Bank, you know, Sonu Matal, he's a mentor. So every juncture in my career, I've always had a mentor, but you have to seek out these mentors, right? They just don't fall into your lap. So,
Mhm.
and you got to put yourself out there. You know, sometimes, you know, I see, you know, my biggest advice for folks that are coming out of college is, grind it out, learn from the best, and they're going to teach you things that are priceless, but you have to be open-minded and you have to be able to absorb the information that they're giving you, because they're going to tell you some of the things that made them fail. And those are the things that you want to learn the most, right? I would say fail as many times as you can in the beginning, because failure makes you better. And the reason why I say that is the restaurant business, when we first opened, we failed miserably for the first 3-4 years because we didn't know anything. We were naive. And I want to emphasize that part, because a lot of people, especially today, they try to create these business plans and they try to, wait until they jump in, and they're trying to create these systems and processes and protocols, but they never actually do it. Right, Roger? So what I would say is, if you're young and you have the time and time's on your side, jump right into it. Whatever your passion project is, just do it first, because it'll take a life of its own and it's going to teach you along the way. And especially if you're young, you have less to risk, right? You have less to lose, while you don't have as much responsibility. So I would say go in, 100%, nose first, dive right into it, and you're going to learn so much from being around folks that have been doing it for quite some time. So
what has been the biggest lesson you've gained from a failure? I know there's many. We all have many. I've been in the business quote unquote world for less than 5 years, and I have a ton, because that's the game, right? Failing and learning.
Correct.
But I would say in recent memory, something that you failed from and the biggest lesson that it gave you.
I can tell you the failure to be able to see and really play chess, right? I think in business.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you need to be 8 steps, 10 steps ahead. And a lot of times before I actually got into the business for myself, I only saw things face value. I only saw things maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead. It's taught me, in terms of owning my own business, to think 8 steps ahead. You have to peel the onion back as much as you can, and be as detailed as you can, because let's say you have a goal. You need to envision that goal and work backwards until today, meaning reverse engineer. And it's taught me to really have a strong critical path. So whenever I have a business or a goal that I want to do, I'm always looking at what's my end goal and how do I peel the onion back 10 steps until today, right? And that will allow me to have a sort of a roadmap on what I need to do. And it helps you figure out your blind spots. Obviously, you'll never know what your blind spots are, but the biggest lesson that has taught me in failure is not to be too complacent and really understand the business that you're going into. So whether that's understanding your competition, knowing how you can differentiate your product from everyone else, everything to positioning your product, real estate, cash flow, reserves, PR, marketing, all of those things are some of the things that you need to figure out, but you'll only be able to figure out if you're able to actually reverse engineer everything from the end to the beginning. Make sense?
100%. Ace, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I know there's going to be a part 2, because I definitely want to talk about you being a walk-on to UConn and that whole experience.
Definitely, Roger.
What you have going on with the restaurant business. I really do appreciate your time during this wild or weird time that we're having now. And where can people find you? What's the best outlet, social media platform?
I need to change my Instagram handle, Roger, because it's my first and last name. So, but
I'll just try like Ace W or.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. But yeah, you can reach me at Ace Watanasuparp. Obviously, you're never gonna find anyone with that crazy last name. So, but yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram.
You're on LinkedIn.
Or LinkedIn. And I did my first TikTok video, Roger. So I gotta learn a couple things from you.
Let's go.
Yeah, I might do this Justin Bieber challenge. Huh?
Is your handle the name? Your name?
It is. Unfortunately, I gotta change it, Roger.
No, that's fine. I think it's fun. It is unique. It is your name. Helps out with SEO. But Again, I know you're tight on time here, and I told you it would be off by a certain time, and I want to stick to it. So I appreciate
I
you and your
appreciate it.
time. And
Definitely.
we'll definitely be in touch. If there's anything I can do to help you, TikTok related, content related, reach out. I'm on my laptop, get stuff done, and I'll make sure to
Betcha.
share. You could find I'll put in the description your Instagram, LinkedIn, your TikTok handle.
That's it. That's it.
For people to get involved if they have any questions for you. So one more time, Ace, Senior Vice President, National Director of Strategic Sales for Citizens Bank. My dude, I will see you soon. Stay safe, be safe in New York City. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
My guy. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate you.